always fun when I can actually remember biopics actually happening during my lifetime. Hello once again, watchers of good movies. My name is Nick Pell and this is once again coming from my apartment. Now today we're going to be talking about the film Snowden. Now, like him or hate him, this is a biopic about Edward Snowden, directed by Oliver Stone, who has done many other controversial-esque films like JFK and Bush and W. But yeah, this is about Edward Snowden, who most people will remember back in 2013 released a bunch of classified NSA documents to the press, and now he is in asylum in Russia as a result. And so this is that story. And one thing that I appreciated about this, just based on things I learned in interviews with Oliver Stone and Joseph Gordon-Levitt on talk shows, is that they actually went to Russia multiple times, conversed with Edward Snowden in real life, and just learned actual facts about the events of this film. They didn't just take it from multiple different sources or just kind of try to fill in gaps where they needed to with false material. They actually figure out what actually happened based on what this guy said and try to incorporate that into the film as much as possible. And I really appreciate that aspect because it adds a lot of legitimacy to it. Joseph Gordon-Levitt stars as Edward Snowden. I thought he did a really good job in the role. It's not really a role that you typically see him in, and I really enjoyed seeing that because it shows that he can just do more and more as an actor. I also thought they captured the kind of the stoicness and awkwardness of Edward Snowden as an individual, just based on small interview clips that I've seen. He's a very intelligent person, but he can be kind of out there, I guess, as a person, based on what I've seen. You also have Shailene Woodley, most well known from the Divergent franchise. This one reminds people that she can actually act quite well. You have films like Fault in Our Stars, Spectacular Now, this film itself, which shows, oh hey, she can actually act really well. These are films that she needs to get more of and just stay away from the book adaptation films because they're not going to do her any favors anymore. But I really enjoyed the chemistry between Shailene Woodley and Joseph Gordon-Levitt as characters because she plays Lindsay Mills, who is the girlfriend of Edward Snowden in the film. I thought that their relationship was very interesting to see play out as he continues to get more and more jobs within the CIA and the NSA over the 10-year span that the film takes place in. And you see the issues that causes within their relationship as a result. And again, I don't really know a lot about Edward Snowden before he released all the documents. Nobody did. And so I haven't really gone into research about a lot of like his past and his history, and so a lot of the things which I learned about his relationships and his physical diseases which he ended up having, I found those to be really interesting facts and just stuff that I didn't know about. And I thought they were handled very well in the film. I thought that Shailene Woodley as a character reacted in a natural way to things which she would eventually learn and just things that he just ended up doing. And I just liked their dynamic in the film. I also like that it gave a lot of good historical context because you get to see just kind of things which are playing out over the course of this film in the background as the Snowden events are taking place. Because you get to see kind of like the Bush years with Edward Snowden being like very pro-government, very pro-Bush, everything like that, and Shailene Woodley's character, Lindsay Mills, being very liberal, being very anti-Bush during this time period where wars in Iraq and Afghanistan were going on. And then you kind of move into the Obama years and you just see the different reactions that are taking place and different things which are happening as a result of that. And I just found those aspects to be really interesting in regards to filling in context and kind of why Edward Snowden reacted in certain ways that he did. I did feel like the film was a little bit long. It's 2 hours and 15 minutes roughly, and so it does kind of it takes a long time to get through. I think they could have left out a few different parts of the film and maybe just shortened it up a little bit, but ultimately everything that they included made sense as to why they included it, just to add context, just to show as much detail about this guy's life before he released the documents and as much reason as to why he released the documents as possible. So I understand why it had to be so long. It does also kind of drift into feeling like a documentary at times, because there will be times where Edward Snowden is explaining certain aspects or like a program or like how something works, and it feels very documentary-esque. And that was something which kind of bugged me because the film is supposed to be kind of dramatization, and yet straight into the kind of documentary format a few times. This would be a con just depending on your personal views of Edward Snowden, but it is a very pro-Snowden movie. And that bugged me to the extent where it didn't really touch on the other side, where it's like, oh hey, you're a traitor, you're going to be a terrible human being if you, or a traitor to your government if you release these documents. It doesn't really focus as much on that and more on justifying why Edward Snowden did what he did, which makes sense since it's Oliver Stone and they visited with Edward Snowden. They're obviously going to try to tell a pro-Snowden tale. It's just, if you're not a fan of Snowden, that's probably going to bug you a lot. The good thing that it does, as with every biopic, I like it when they have kind of an ending showing, oh hey, what happened as a result of these actions. And they do that. They have this ending, which is kind of a cool thing, which kind of shows the results in regards to newspaper articles of what ultimately happened over the coming years after 2013 in regards to the NSA and their spying on the American people and governments throughout the world, and seeing the reforms which supposedly have happened within the NSA itself. You also find out very little information about, like, oh hey, what's going on with Edward Snowden now, what's happening with Lindsay Mills. I like those aspects because, again, stuff that I didn't necessarily know. So guys, those are my thoughts on Snowden. I thought it's a good film. I thought it depicted the events as truthfully as it could. Is it very pro-Snowden? Yes, it's a very biased film. But if you know that going into it, and that's kind of what you're expecting, you'll probably enjoy it like I did. So guys, those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments down below. Did you like it as much as I did? Did you hate it more than I did? Let me know. Like, favorite, comment, and subscribe. Once again, if you so choose, I appreciate it immensely. And as always, from people, my name is Nick Pell. And once again, keep on watching.